How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball and welcome back to another transfer update. And we're going to start off in Italy this time, talking about Marko Arnautovic, as this is an official announced move, and it's Inter Milan have signed forward Marko Arnautovic from Bologna on loan with a 10 million obligation to buy. Interesting signing, this one.
Yeah, he's a striker who, to be fair, since he's moved up front, which was been a while now, so under David Moyes, like about 5-6 years ago, he's actually been a pretty consistent performer when he's given a run of games. He's quite a good goal scorer. I think he might do quite, like Inter Milan like doing this, signing these old players who maybe people would consider past it, and then getting the best out of them and squeezing as much time out of them. And I think he's obviously returning to Inter Milan. He used to play for them. I think it could be a solid move for them. I don't expect him to set the world alight, but he could get between 10 goals, something like that. And if he does that, it's probably a decent move.
The thing is with Marko Arnautovic, it always ends sour wherever he is. The attitude problems always come to light eventually. He might have a really good start there, but I don't envisage it like ending great, basically.
Well, it's 10 million. I mean, It's not that much. And if he can get 10 goals, it's probably what worked out.
I guarantee you what's going to happen. He'll have a good season. The fans will fall in love with him this season. And then next season, once they've made it permanent, they're going to probably regret it and look to sell him.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. Let's talk about a potential incoming to Liverpool with the central defensive midfield target seeming going to Chelsea every single week. Sky Sports say that Liverpool have agreed a 16 million deal to sign midfielder Wataru Endo from Stuttgart, and Romano says that Endo currently undergoing the first part of his medical at Liverpool after a surprising move revealed yesterday night. Endo travelled to Merseyside on Thursday night with his camp after Stuttgart green light to complete his dream move. And this is actually a really interesting signing for Liverpool. I mean, it was something completely out the box. No one expected this one to happen. But you look at his underlying stats, you look at the World Cup as well he had for Japan, which was really impressive. I think this guy could be a really good utility player for Liverpool.
He adds experience to that midfield that's been missing as well, because they've sold Fabinho, they've sold Henderson, so they need, they've sold, Milner's gone as well. So they need an experienced head of midfield to kind of be an anchor. But I like Endo. I think he's a good player, he's a good ball playing midfielder, and obviously off the ball as well, he does his job. But I would have thought he was actually more of a kind of box-to-box number 8 than maybe a number 6, which maybe it's implying they're going to play him in that kind of role. I do think he brings maybe a bit more stability into that midfield, but I would be surprised if that's their last midfield signing.
Yeah, it's definitely not their last midfield signing. I think they'll still go for a more kind of marquee signing for that position, but I think it's a really good option for the squad for them. I really do. And I feel like it's kind of like James Milner signing, where he can play in a number of roles in that midfield, and you know what you're going to get with him. You know you're going to get hard work, you're going to get grit, and you're going to get a bit of quality as well. So I think it's a really good signing for Liverpool, in my opinion. But let's move on to the biggest story of the day, and that is regarding Michael Olise of Crystal Palace. And Michael Olise has rejected Chelsea to sign a new 4-year contract with Crystal Palace. Roy Hodgson was speaking. He said, "It's Olise who decided to sign the deal with us, and I must congratulate Steve Parish and Dougie Freeman on a fantastic job." Roy Hodgson also confirmed the 4-year agreement as Crystal Palace and Chelsea deal has officially collapsed. Romano says that Crystal Palace informed the club lawyers of their intentions to consider going to a tribunal with Chelsea after approach for Olise. That's how the story changed. Palace very strong on that, and Chelsea left the conversation. Olise accepts new deal, and Crystal Palace are very happy with that. Unbelievable turn of events.
Incredible how Palace have been able to pull off a change in Olise's heart, although maybe it was a case that Chelsea pulled out because of all those ongoing legal proceedings potentially brought against them, and they didn't want that headache. They've got enough legal headaches, Chelsea.
It's not like Bowley to shy away from a legal battle.
Yeah, maybe not, but look, for all the world to see that this was going to be another case of a bigger club in the Premier League bullying one of the smaller clubs and getting their best player, and with Olise, his release clause being activated. But the fact that this has turned around, no one in the world could have seen that one coming. And Steve Parish kind of just out of nowhere tweeted out how Olise has signed his new 4-year deal, to the shock of everyone. It's nice to see a transfer or some transfer business happen without a journalist or everyone knowing for every single step of the way. saying something out of the blue. It only in this day and age, it only comes once in a while, so you got to enjoy it while it lasts. But fair play to Palace. It's a massive move, decision from Olise to stay there, and it's massive for them in terms of being able to stay in the Premier League and making sure that they've got the firepower up front, because without him, they're so heavily reliant on Eze, and if Eze's out of the game or being marked out, it's going to be very difficult for Palace to impact games. I think Olise is so crucial. I wouldn't be surprised in a year's time we're in a similar situation with another big club coming in for Olise, but at least for another season, Palace have got their key player, and I think that, for me, probably keeps them in the league for sure for another season.
Do you feel like why do you think Olise has signed a new contract there with all these clubs going in for him? Do you reckon they've got some sort of agreement that he can go next summer, or a big release clause in the contract for next summer?
Yeah, I'd assume that maybe that the release clause is a bit high. Obviously, they've reportedly given him 100 grand a week, so obviously improved his wages massively. I mean, I assume Chelsea would have given him something similar. So I am surprised, to be honest. Without knowing the minutiae of the contract, it's hard to say. But you have to say massive credit to the Palace chairman for getting that deal done, because no one in the world would have thought that possible 24 hours ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So Olise has rejected Chelsea to stay on at Crystal Palace for 4 years, the new contract. But let's talk about another potential outgoing at Chelsea, Lewis Hall. The Telegraph are reporting that Newcastle have agreed a transfer to sign Lewis Hall on a permanent deal, initial 28 million fee with add-ons. The youngster had agreed a new 6-year contract with Chelsea, but the club felt the fee was too good to turn down given the FFP situation. And apparently Chelsea have just been messing around this Lewis Hall pretty much all summer, saying you're in the plans, you're out the plans, you're in your plans, you're out the plans, but looks like he's going to Newcastle now.
Doing the hokey cokey, you're saying.
Exactly.
But when I was saying Lewis Hall, 28 million for a player who's probably played a handful of Premier League games is a crazy thing. Yes, don't get me wrong, he did impress in those handful of games, and he did play quite well on the left-hand side. He does seem like a really good prospect for the future, but 28 million does seem a bit of a mad fee for a player with that kind of experience. But when it comes to Newcastle, I'm guessing they're probably looking long-term when it comes to, obviously, Matt Targett's not going to be there for much longer, probably. Dan Burn is doing very well, but is he realistically, when they're trying to progress, is he going to be the one to stick it out, Dan Burn, as much as he's a good player? Probably not. So Lewis Hall, they've got a player who in the future could definitely be their left-back for many, many years to come. And I do think he's a really good young player. But I do think 28 million is crazy money, considering they signed Livramento for 30, didn't they? And he's got a lot more experience than him. But Chelsea getting good money for the youngsters, that's another story of investing in your academy. They do a really good job with that, Chelsea, so fair play. Yeah,
they do, because they sign every young player on the planet, and some of them have to stick, you know what I mean? But I think that when you're buying Livramento and Lewis Hall, I mean, that's the succession plan, isn't it? And I think that the plan is for them to be fully stocked there now for the foreseeable future. I mean, Livramento was a strange one because he's just been out for a year. You don't know what Livramento you're going to get back. Lewis Hall, I like that signing a bit more. And I think he's a really good player, and I think he's got good prospects. So I think a year as an understudy, or even a couple of years as an understudy, maybe a loan spell out there as well. But I think they've sorted their fullbacks out for at least the next 10 years if they stay there.
It's crazy to think that five appearances now puts you in £30 million mark.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Rasmus Højlund. How many appearances has he actually had at top league football?
Yeah, but he's played international. He's played in Serie A. Before Serie A, he was playing quite well.
Yeah, but 75 million.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Of course it is. But he has at least shown a whole season where he's done well. Like literally, Lewis Hall's like a few appearances and he's 30 million. It's mad money. Crazy market.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, let's talk about Aymeric Laporte. Romano says that Man City keep waiting on final decisions by Laporte after bid from Al Nassr was accepted. Negotiations continue on the players' side, and Al Nassr are waiting for Laporte. And this might be why they're waiting, because Martin Blackburn's reporting that Real Madrid could hijack the Laporte move to Al Nassr as they look to reinforce the defence after the injury of Eder Militão. The player is waiting to see if Real Madrid make an offer.
And if I'm Madrid, I would make an offer. I think it would fit right in. I think it'd be a brilliant signing, and he can play in Europe's top league for a bit longer. If he goes over to Al Nassr, yes, he gets lots of money and goes over to the salary, which is improving, but doesn't. I think a player of Laporte's quality should be a club like Real Madrid. And I'm intrigued to see how he would get on if he plays. I think it would fit right in. I think it would be a brilliant signing, but at the end of the day. If Madrid aren't that serious about it and just looking at it, and then all that money's on the table, he might just go there. But if I was him, I would wait for the Madrid deal.
For the price they're talking about, I mean, the fee agreed was 25 million. Tell me a defender that you can get that's better than him for 25 million.
No, there isn't one.
There isn't one, exactly. So if I'm Real Madrid, I'm getting this deal done right now because I think it'll be an unbelievable signing for them. But that is your transfer update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought to you today, and we'll see you next time.